I don't remember the exact day and time that this happened. I don't remember what age I was where I had this moment of clarity, like Samuel L. Jackson says, right? But it was during chaos. My life between the first 32 years of my life were just pure chaos. But my 20s were extra chaotic because I didn't have a governor on me. It was just pedal to the metal, all gas, no brakes, just nonstop chaos. And I was an amateur, but I was doing what I wanted to do with my life, be a starving artist, to put it in a very basic terms or whatever. And it's a lifestyle choice. It's not something that everybody can do at all. And I remember thinking maybe after a bad date or a bad show or a rough night, if you know what I mean, um, that I wanted to do nothing. That I wanted a very, very, very simple life. I didn't want to own things. I didn't want to have any debt. I didn't want to owe anybody anything. I just wanted to not be a bum, but just I wanted to kind of casually do things on my own. Like if I wanted to do a bit like I'm doing now, I could do that. If I wanted to, have a friend over and have coffee and play with their dogs or whatever, my friends' kids or my friends or my sister's kids and read when I wanted to read and just kind of not do anything because it was so chaotic in my 20s and my teens and my early 30s that I got burnt out. I was in the emergency room, passed out on a gurney, couldn't breathe, couldn't keep a thought together, couldn't move. I was done. I thought I was going to die. They just pumped me full of antibiotics and painkillers and said, well, kid, we'll just pray. And when I came out of that 2 week ordeal of just being completely wasted, the doctor said, well, you didn't test positive for anything. Drugs, alcohol, diseases, nothing. So my advice to you as a doctor is whatever you're doing with your life, stop and don't come here again. And I had to detox from all of that. All of that. The first 30 some odd years of my life. It was a lot of therapy. It was a lot of changing my diet. It was a lot of curbing my drinking, curbing my pot smoking, which is pretty much down to nothing in my 40s. Exercise, keep my mind limber as far as reading books and, um, not being exposed to crazy media. And now at 44, I basically have that. In a constructive way, I basically do nothing. But I do help if I'm needed as a gay uncle and as a gay surrogate uncle, help with the raising of my friend's kids, my sister's kid. I have a friend that comes over once a week, have coffee, get to play with his dogs. I read a whole lot. I got a whole bookshelf full of books, and I go to the library all the time. I eat a real basic diet. I could obviously lose some weight, but I'm not worried about it. I have a clean bill of health. My medications work. My vitamins work. I don't eat physical ailments that keep me from walking around town or anything like that. Um, I have a little bit of money coming in and a little bit of money saved up. Zero debt. I don't have any kids of my own. I don't own any property or any big expenses or anything like that. I can keep life going for very little amount of money. And it kind of turned out that way 25 years later, where I'm just doing things on my own terms, where back then that was impossible. And it almost killed me. And I know people that couldn't figure that out for themselves, and they died. They're no longer with us. And I know people that couldn't figure that out for themselves that are alive, and are in kind of precarious situations that I hope clear up, or they find a footing somewhere in life and at least can have internal abundance. I think materialism, which I've been able to kind of get rid of, which I never really had. I did for a while because of that stupid Secret movie, but I wasn't raised that way. I didn't have I liked Ninja Turtles, if that helps. That was my big thing growing up. But I wasn't really a materialistic kid. I definitely wasn't materialistic coming up, leading into my 30s. I think that's helped. But yeah, it was funny how that worked out. It was, obviously I'm not dead. I can go viral any minute and be back in the chaos, for all I know. I guess for all any of us know. But, just how life played out. I'm grateful.